When we last left our heroes, Gitasha had made Edmund vomit all over the place and was cleaning him up. As y'all realized, yep, definitely poison. Gitasha had lovingly decided to try the food and get poisoned herself, and then proceed to remove poison from said self. And y'all were discussing what you were gonna do about that.
So at the end of the last session, I think we had narrowed it down to possibly just Eugene, right? I try to remember exactly where we left off the dialogue, but I think I feel like we crossed off a few people off the list that it probably won't or couldn't be.
We definitely narrowed it down. I think I offered to talk to Eugene. I think that's the only person I hadn't talked to was Eugene and Penny Gold.
I think if you could speak to Eugene, I think that would be really good because you can be disarming and blunt in a positive way. And I think that would be really, really good for getting some answers, or at least some hints towards answers from Eugene.
Yeah. Let's see. I can see if I can find him during, I guess tea is the next one.
Yeah,
The next
afternoon tea
great
would be
mingle.
next.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds probably appropriate. Yes, hopefully that would be able to get some answers. I think if we can try and continue to narrow it down as much as we can to prevent further issues like this.
I am so sorry, young Master Eugene. We are just talking over you.
It's
Literally, in
alright.
my case.
It's alright.
Well, let's lay you down and get you. We'll need to go out and get fresh water. I'm afraid most of it is on your bed.
One other thing that's crossing my mind is that both the attacks, or if they can be considered such, the poisoning and the heat metal, both took place during a very public sort of mealtime event, which is interesting. It seems that whoever is doing this isn't maybe confident enough to go ahead and just try and attack in his room, or perhaps doesn't know which room is his. That's something else. But if these continue to happen in these very public places, I think that's where we all need to be the most vigilant from now on. So keeping an eye on what is being eaten and what everybody in the cart is doing. I think that would be the moments we need to be the most cautious, as far as I can tell.
It's not going to be. It's not going to be obvious. I don't think. Like so far, both attacks have been inconveniences at most, far from anything even close, even approaching lethal.
Yes.
I think so. If our quarry is looking for fear, then I think that's probably also why they're hiding among like more populated like meal times. Is it's just to make our client afraid.
Edmund, if I can ask you directly, is it working?
Yes.
Okay. That's not good.
Said sick child laying curled up on a wet spot on his bed, just like doing the very sad cat face, like when you deny a cat a treat.
Mhm. Well, I think in the meantime, let's at least get you moved over to our room with the spare bed so you can at least lay down before they do. Do they do turn down services?
Mhm.
Okay. I'm sure they'll clean up some of the water, but at least you'll have some place dry. And
That,
Kitasha will like
that
help
sounds
lead him.
good.
Um, and we'll get him set up. We'll offer like a spare robe of hers for him to wear. It'll probably be too big.
Mhm.
It probably
Yeah,
won't be
that
the
sounds.
same quality that he's looking for or that he normally wears, but it'll
Mhm.
be something.
Yeah, something nice. Um, let's see. And then is everyone else following, or is it just Kitasha taking him over and then coming back?
Okay, just before you take him over, a question for the group: do we want him to be alone at all, given that we are now 2 attacks in and we still have a number of days left before we arrive? Do we want to leave him alone, or do we want to stay with him at all times?
Well, he had Hercules with him, right?
That's true. I suppose at least for the time that he's alone in his room, it's probably fine. But maybe in public, we'll try and keep at least one of the three of us with him. Um, all right, Hercules. Uh, keep doing good stuff.
Are you having Hercules move rooms now since Kitasha is moving into your room?
Yeah, I'll say so. Yeah. And I'll tell Hercules protect Edmund.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
In the meantime, let's make sure that Edmund is aware he needs to be with one of us at any one time, at least while he's out of his own room.
Haven't we already been doing that?
We have overall, but I still don't want him getting distracted or slipping off to have some time by himself. It just we need to keep him safe, especially now it does seem like he's being targeted.
Okay.
All right. I'll wait outside his room and act casual. Yeah, I can. Don't pull that face. I can act casual. I've acted casual before. Um, I, he very awkwardly puts his hands in his pockets and tries to lean against the wall, and he's slightly too far away, so he kind of collapses back into the wall a little bit. See. Anyway, if you were able to speak to Eugene, that would be great. Wait, what was that?
Are you saying that you're doing that for the time being? And which room are you leaning outside of, or
I'm leaning outside of our room just so no one tries to go into our room.
along with Hercules, who's in?
Yeah, Hercules is in the room and I'm outside the room, just for a little bit while
Okay.
while he's being sick and feeling
Mhm.
under the weather. I want to be close by in case he calls for help or something.
Okay.
Right.
How about the other
Kitasha
two?
will just stay until Edmund gets comfortable, and then she will, unless he specifically asks her to stay, she will politely excuse herself from the room.
He'll say that he should be good, especially with Hercules there, and but he's gonna try to rest off the rest of what's left over. But he should be okay. And you know this as well, just from your experience of having just dealt with this as well. He should be alright after a 30-minute to an hour rest.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Kitasha will exit, close the door. Okay. He should be good in about 30 minutes, maybe an hour.
All right, I'll just stand guard just for that time, along with Hercules, just to. Well, Hercules is inside the room, but I'll be outside just so then if he does need anything, I'm right here.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're able to speak to Eugene and try and um, get an angle on him, try and see if he knows anything or is magically suspicious, or yeah, if it is, I guess if you're able to find out if he's got any reason to be against him or to want the event to not take place or to anything at all really.
Well, wait a minute. Who's actually spoken to Eugene?
Just me, as far as I know.
And you don't know if he's going to the fair?
He, as far as I remember, was fairly elusive about it. Didn't seem to say he said he was just going to the city, unless Michaela wants to step in and correct me there. But
I think what he said, and I forgot to write it down, I apologize. I believe
Oh.
what Eugene said, but he was going from farming stuff, that sort of thing. He
Okay.
wasn't even going for there at all.
Right, okay, so he'd just be in the city, but not to the fair. But yeah, it's not to say that he wasn't lying, and like I say, he did. There were some things about him that threw me off a little. Some of the way he spoke about he knew my business and he knew that it burned down, and he sounded a bit strange about that. So he at least seems to know me, or at least of me in some capacity.
I mean, most of the people who've known about your business have been part of the gang,
Hmm.
but we haven't actually had to deal with any fire.
Not yet.
Do they do non-fire things?
I'm not sure.
Heat metal is fire adjacent.
Yeah, that's potentially something. And poisoning food could be done by anyone. I guess.
Joe, did you have a particular clientele or that you served when your business was still functioning?
When it wasn't members of the gang, or it was just a lot of people that were other business owners or members of the public who just needed things repaired. It was a lot of mending work mostly. Although I did
But
occasionally sell small gizmos.
but mostly like one time or like
Like, did you have a lot of
f- f-
repeat customers?
It was mostly walk-ins, although I had a few people that would come in if they were regularly overusing some piece of equipment or something. But most of it, occasional adventurers even, but yeah, most of it was walk-in people besides the gang, of course.
Hmm.
Hmm. Okay.
And I don't
I
remember seeing this fellow before, for what it's worth. This, I think, is the first time I've met him.
okay. I think I'll just try and find him during tea.
All right.
Um, but I think, and Kitasha will look over at Edmund's door for his room, and say, I think in the meantime, I'm going to go to Edmund's room. Maybe there's a tie to someone here that isn't the Flamefurs that he might know or might know of. Or I'll just clean his room. You know, who knows?
Are you snooping?
I don't. Kitasha will look down at Joe because Joe is canonically shorter than Kitasha.
Oh yeah.
I don't snoop. I like to get to know who I'm serving, though, and she'll go into the room.
All right. What's Mako up to during this whole conversation?
Mako's just trying to figure out like how like how she can at all to like prevent any of this, because like both times have been completely unnoticed. And part of her is also worrying that if we like try and tighten security, that either will scare them off and we won't be able to catch them, or it'll like cement um it'll cement that they are afraid. And it's like I don't know how to I don't know what the best course of action is here. And I don't know. Previously, Mako had a general to do the strategizing and tell her what to do, but now it's like kind of out of her element still.
Fair. Mako pondering in the distance, wide-eyed, red-eyed stare, just to the far distance. Quick. Okay, Kitasha's gone into Edmund's room. Mako, are you just outside with Joe, outside of your guys' room?
Yeah.
Let me just make sure. I'm about to say yes, that does make sense. Just wanted to double check thing. Yeah, as you guys are standing there, the door will open and walking through is Brutus, currently writing in his journal, and as he walks through the threshold, he looks up and kind of starts at seeing two people just loitering in the hall. Oh, good day to you both, and continues to try and walk past you.
Good day. Does he look like he's very vaguely interested in conversation, or just moving on quickly?
Continuing right into his book.
Okay.
You could insight check him if you want.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. I just want to get like a bead on like what was he actually trying to get to one of these rooms, or is he just like moving quickly through? And yeah, an insight is a 9.
He's suspicious. Why would he walk into this cabin suddenly? From cabin 6. Why would he walk in here?
Mako,
And
did you see that?
continue walking past?
I think jumping to conclusions is going to not serve us at all at this point.
Why would he be using a book while walking? That's incredibly dangerous. He's up to something.
He's probably just a nerd.
Hmm. All right. We'll agree to agree just this once.
On that note, we'll cut to Kitasha. So are you searching the room while you're cleaning it?
Yes.
Snooping.
All right.
Not
Give me
snooping.
an investigation roll.
I would have been so happy with insight, though.
You're not inciting the room, though.
Okay.
The
It's
room
a
has
lot better
no
than
ill
it could have
intent.
been.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, as you are, tidying up stuff and cleaning up what you can, the main things that you're seeing is there's a lot of his notes for his presentation. You skim over them, but not being an artist yourself, it goes a little bit over your head. Just the many
The numbers and
intricate
stuff.
workings Yeah, lots of numbers. Way too many numbers. But all of it seems to be focused around the sun forged steel, that sort of thing, as well as just the usage of it in potential solar panel situation. The one of the things you'll notice in it that kind of he briefly remember him talking about, but that with this, especially if it were to get enough funding, they could easily, even though like gas pipelines are only just being introduced into so many homes, they might be able to just stop the production on that and switch everything to this power to reduce the smog and the smoke emissions are going on in the cities. And that help also to stimulate the magic usage as well, with it requiring and creating, say, nice, not only regular electric current, but also a magical current. Which you think, quite interesting. Otherwise, things that you find, he's got a couple tools that you just tidy up. You can see a couple of letters to his parents that he's partially written. Do you choose to look into these?
Yes, but only if they're open. Like
Mhm.
if as long as
There's
Kitasha doesn't have to like open the letters herself.
Mhm.
Like they're not sealed.
There is, yeah, one is sealed, one is not. It looked like this was kind of like a day by day sort of writing and such. As you're briefly skimming, you can see that it's him talking about his research a little bit. You see that he's quite interested in you three, and is describing you all in great detail, very excitedly. Look at these adventurers that are joining me on my journey. You have a brief moment, Tasha, of wondering if they'll remember you when they read your description. Then, as you're going through, you do notice that he mentions that the coincidence of seeing the flame furs as well as penny gold upon this trip, along with oh man, I'm forgetting my own NPC's names. Reginald. All of which he has known from a young age, knowing the nobility and the political side of things. Um, but that's really the main thing you're noticing out of those letters. Otherwise, there's not too much else in his room, just clothes. He's got a couple of what you realize to be fidget toys that he's kind of hidden away in a drawer. You think that he uses these whenever he's not tinkering with something else.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, that seems to be the things you find.
Okay. Thinking back, Pennygold and Reginald didn't seem to like clock him, did they?
No, at least they didn't really super acknowledge him.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Okay. Kitasha will remember this for the future. Yeah, and I think just tidying up and doing a bunch of prestidigitation on things
Mhm.
to just kind of get it cleaned up. She will leave the bed wet.
Okay.
She won't touch that, but she'll clean up everything else.
Mhm.
And she will take one of the fidget toys,
Mhm.
um, and we'll just keep it on hand in like a pocket or
Okay.
something.
Stealing the kid's fidget toy. I can't believe you.
Hmm. A fellow child
You touched
stealing a
it.
toy.
It's mine now.
Hmm.
Okay. Uh, let's say that it is one of the slugs.
Hmm. The 3D printed whatevers.
Yeah. Yeah. I have one somewhere in here. Yep, there's David
Little
with
alligator.
one. But yeah, we'll say it's that.
Okay.
But yeah, that kind of concludes, unless there's anything else that you want to do in that room.
Um, I don't think so. Kitasha looks at
Okay.
her mimic ring and then thinks about potentially changing into something just to be in the room and stare at things, but then thinks better of it and does not.
Okay. Someday that mimic ring will get used.
One of these days, it'll happen.
One of these days. Okay. Yeah, Kitasha, you can re-enter out into the hallway where the other two are. Continuing on as you enter the room. So does. Let me just remember everything. Yes. Uh, Augustus Flamefur will enter the room. Also coming
This
in from card 6.
this is
This
the
is the
father or
younger
the son?
boy.
Younger boy.
The
Okay.
son.
Hmm. Yep.
He's kind of like looking around, sees you guys, kind of nods, and then kind of like shuffles forward towards the next cart.
Hmm. Yeah. Kitasha will make sure to give like a head bow and will kind of like gesture him forward and try to give him as much space because I'm assuming Joe is still leaning at a weird angle against the wall and
Yeah,
is taking
Very
up a
weird.
significant
Very
portion of the
suspicious.
hallway.
Yeah.
to prove that he can pull off a casual look, Joe does an up nod at the kid.
Give me an intimidation roll.
Intimidation? No, this is meant to be cool. Oh dear.
What up, fellow kids? I too know the things.
That's a 2 for the old
The
intimidation.
kid kind of looks at you and just like, ugh, and keeps going. You get that look Tanjiro gives Zenitsu in that last
no.
episode.
No.
The
Just slight disgust. Barely
the
contained.
kid scurries out of the room.
You guys, I'm starting to wonder if maybe I'm not the. Maybe I've lost it. I don't think I'm as cool as I might have once been.
I mean, you also have a child somewhere, right?
Yeah. Is that not cool?
I mean, typically when you're old enough to have children, you stop being cool.
Joe looks legitimately crestfallen. But all right, that's fine. I mean, we all knew that Mecha was the coolest one here, but I thought I'd be on the podium at least.
Well, there's normally like 3 or 4 spots on those, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, see, you're still on the podium.
All right, I got the participation award. Most
It's still an
improved.
award.
Hercules sitting on the number 3 spot.
Yeah, Joe got moved down. All right. Well, okay. Well, I guess all three of us don't need to be out here. He's probably fine. I guess I'll just keep watch for another half an hour until he's ready to come out. But you probably don't need to wait here with me.
Okay. I mean, was there anything suspicious that happened other than you trying to be cool with a child?
No, the suspicious thing is it's just that I don't want him to. It's the journey from him leaving the room while still roughly like feeling a bit rough and sickened to come and find us wherever he may find us, and potentially for that time being out of bodyguards, if that makes sense.
Can Hercules give messages?
No. And the staff asked him not to leave. Otherwise, I'd have him just accompany him everywhere. But no, Hercules, all he can do is just stand guard as follow basic instructions.
Oh,
But you're
then
right, and I should include message device on the next model.
you know what? This'll work so much better. Excuse me. And Kitasha will go into the room. She'll knock first before entering.
He's still
And
asleep.
yeah. And she will take some paper and a quill and will does Hercules have a collar?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. Kitasha will write a note of like, hey, we went to such a we went to cart 8, the bar
Okay.
cart. Hercules will watch you while we're gone. And if there is a D ring on the collar, Kitasha will roll up the paper and slip it through. And if there is just enough space for the slug to also fit in there, she will put that in there too.
Beautiful.
Nice. To be fair, I mean, he's made of metal plates, so I imagine there's lots of grooves or things you can kind of, or, even just get him to hold it in his mouth and just wait next to Edmund. So yeah, any of that would be fine.
Okay. I think Kitasha's gonna just go with a D ring and we'll put everything in and then we'll like good dog. And then she'll exit.
Orf. Orf, but lightly.
Borf light.
Yeah, Borf light.
Borf, said Dumbledore calmly.
And Kitasha will slowly, like softly close the door. Okay, well,
Mhm.
we are I left him a note. So I think we should go to where the alcohol is. And she'll turn on her heel and go straight to bar 8 or cart 8.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay. I'll following Kitasha, I'll look over at Mako and say, okay, which one of us has to be the designated driver?
I got it.
All right. Nice.
Mako DD because Mako's like, I have too much PTSD to be drunk.
Makes the best drugs though.
Okay. As you guys walk down and enter cart 8, you will see, let's see, who all is in cart 8 right now. That's going to be Brutus again. Vernon is there. And Reginald.
Okay. And they're all in separate spots, or does it look like Vernon and Reginald have gotten along? Because I feel like those are the only two who might.
Vernon and Reginald are sitting at the same table, but each has their own book that they are currently invested in. Not really speaking to each other at the moment.
Mhm.
All right. So it's a bar cart, but it's a very like we got some chill vibes going on. Everyone's kind of got their noses in books.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. I'll grab a table for the three of us. And I guess we can order a couple drinks.
Kitasha will go. Is it the same bartender or is it a
Yeah.
different one?
You know what? Today it is a small halfling woman.
Okay.
You notice kind of as you stand up to the bar that they've got a like, if you can think of like school tables where it's got the folding out seats,
Mhm.
it's like that but as a step stool for her around the counter so that she's still the same height as the previous bartender.
You know what? That makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
She'll look up at you and smile and, what'll you drink?
ooh, that's a good question. And Kitasha will look back over at the table to Mako, who has decided she's not going to be fun, to Joe, who may or may not know what alcohol is. Hmm. What do you have for two lightweights?
Mmm. Got some nice light ales. Don't have much kick to them. I got pretty low percentage elven wine. I could make a really, really light screwdriver. I also got carrot juice back here. Could make something out of that.
You know, do you have the I've heard about it before. It's like a carrot or other sort of vegetable juice with a clear liquor. Um, it's
Yeah,
normally
yeah, yeah,
served with
yeah.
other sort of.
Mary, yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, I can make you that. Let me just make sure. And she kind of hops down to rummage through her liquids down below, and she pops back up and starts putting them on the table. Like, yeah, I can do that.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do a Mary, a light ale, and you know, I've only had rum the past day or so. Um, I'll go ahead and take some of the elven wine. Is it
Alrighty.
actually low proof? World building question. Are the elves here like 70s? Do they have like the drug and alcohol tolerance of like old men in the 70s? Because they're technically immortal and it's the only thing that has a kick?
I unless David says otherwise. Yeah, that's kind of how I've taken them. However, I would say for like when it comes to the elven wines, it's kind of like a running joke amongst people of elves do hardcore everything except for one. Like,
Oh,
think of when Elena drinks. Wine hits them differently.
oh, it's some grapes. They're allergic.
It's them grapes hit them hard.
Just on that note, in my setting, and I think I'd stole this from somewhere else, but because dwarves have like poison immunity and resistances to all sorts of poison, I make it that like their drink is far and away like beyond anything else. You know, just it's because like for them to even feel anything, it has to be like 90% alcohol or something. So that yeah, that's kind of a goofy way of doing it.
Mhm. Okay. Um, kind of considering who is in the room, Kitasha will opt for the elven wine.
Okay. Yeah, she'll get started on those. Don't mind me finding my deployment. Excellent. Yeah, nothing's happening. Don't worry about it.
Mhm.
And she'll make you. She'll stop as once she's gotten the ale and wine. She goes, now for that Mary, which veggie juice did you want? I
Let's
do
go.
have tomato. I got carrot. Carrot. Alrighty.
Yeah.
She'll prep that up. It's a lot. Once again, these drinks don't take a lot of finesse, but she's, it's a fancy part. You gotta do the fancy lips with all the bottles and everything.
Yeah.
She gets it all
And
set
Kitasha
up.
will, Kitasha will, once before she starts pouring the liquor into the Mary, once again reiterating, like,
Mhm.
it is for a lightweight. Make sure that the pour is very light.
She'll give
More
you a
juice than
wink
liquor.
and she'll give you a wink, twist around, and then
Yeah,
we'll
that seems good.
keep this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mary is in a thin, tall glass. The ale, typical, bar mug.
Mhm.
Your elven wine is in this very pretty, think a champagne flute, but with lots of intricate glass making spirals up the sides. A lot of vine and floral prints too.
Mhm. Okay.
Very fancy, very elven,
Mhm.
very nice.
Yep.
And
Kitasha
she'll
will
pass those
probably,
out. Yeah.
yeah, as soon as she's like putting finishing touches on drinks, Kitasha will probably like steal one of the trays to set the drinks on and carry
Won't
it
mind.
over. Yeah.
There you go, love.
Oh, thank you. And she will pass over like 3 copper for a tip.
Thank you.
Mhm.
She'll pocket that, give you a wink, and continue cleaning the bar.
Mhm. And Kitasha will very carefully carry everything over.
Mhm. I won't make you for that. You've not got anything yet.
Oh, how kind.
Mhm.
And Kitasha will set it out and will take up her flute.
Mhm.
The glass flute, not her not
Yeah.
her thalar.
Just begins playing music in the car. Don't worry about it.
Why not?
Very loudly.
Very boisterous, very nice.
The perfect ambiance for 2 people trying to read in peace and someone else who's probably furiously writing still.
Always. Never
Mhm.
stops. Though, real quick, give me a perception check, 3.
Just perception? Can I do an
Mm-hmm.
insight instead?
Give me a perception first to see if you notice, and then if you notice, you can do an insight. Joe notices nothing.
Mm,
Ooh. Kitasha may notice a thing.
the
A total
wine
of
is
14.
the wine is so sparkly.
Oh, great start. That's a botch.
Mako, you take a sip of your Mary, and you didn't expect any alcohol to be in it. And you choke on your first leg and nearly snort out carrot juice, and you have to take a moment to... And during this display, Joe is like startled by it, trying to help you out, and just making things worse, really. Kitasha, you do notice that Brutus keeps glancing up at you before looking into his journal, and then glancing up at you and going back, trying to be subtle, but he's really not.
Okay. Does he seem to be writing or just like comparing notes?
His pencil is moving. So you assume he's riding.
Would Katasha be able to notice if he's looking at the group of us or just Katasha?
With the perception check she got, she can only tell that he's looking at your guys' way.
Okay.
Okay, I would like to do my insight check
Go for it.
against Brutus. That's a 23.
It just doesn't seem malicious, but he does seem very interested in your group.
It's not
Uh,
malicious.
Specifically, I think you think he's keeping an eye more on you than the rest of the group.
Ah, curse my charismatic nature.
Deep curse.
Such curses. If there are like sets of napkins on the table, Kitasha will assist in however she can. But
And
will
helping poor Mako.
yeah. If Mako isn't covering her face, Kitasha might try and like boop her nose really fast and cast prestidigitation. Because I'm assuming
Rude.
Mako may have snorted some up her nose.
Yeah. Ah, those ones, they get you. They get you good. Eh. You guys continue to clean up after one successful perception check.
A whole
All
one.
right.
A whole one.
A whole one.
You'll notice, I'll just say for Kitasha, with your passive perception, you do notice that eventually Vernon switches from reading in his book to pulling out his notebook and continuing to jot down notes. Brutus is consistently, probably every 20 or 30 seconds, looking back at your group and then
Yeah, definitely
going back
not
to
concerning
writing.
amount of time.
No. Reginald not paying attention to y'all at all. He's got another book this time. This time it appears The Mysteries of the Grove and its Founder. Another history book, you assume.
She's a nerd.
He is a nerd.
Katasha will like clock the book and then like furrow her brow. Why does a grove sound really familiar?
Do you say that
Does
out
it have-
loud?
She kind of, yeah, it's like a stage whisper. Semi under her breath, but it's still out loud.
Because one of the missions available to us was to go to the Grove.
I think there was we had to escort a priestess or something. Wait, you
Did
don't
we
think
figure
he's?
out? Huh?
Wait, do you think this is linked in some way?
I don't know. Because that Reginald is a very learned person. And they do really like to expand their horizons and learn a lot about history. So it could just be something he's brought from his collection.
I could speak to Reginald at some point and ask him about it, see if there's anything that he's anything that would be helpful for us for future.
I mean, maybe. We're already doing a lot of like running around. How far away is the Grove?
Far away, I think. I remember when we saw the map, it was pretty far.
Farther than Radiance is.
if you were to look at a map, map. I don't have the powers of the editing software, but Grove is kind of like dead center-ish, I believe, in the like middle continent. To like, it's pretty distant from each area. Radiance is, I believe, technically a little closer than like Dragon's Rook is to the Grove, but it's still quite a ways away.
Yeah, it's you know, our editor, our wonderful editor David, can probably, you know, it's just superimposed. Imagine there's a map there. It's beautiful.
Yeah, imagine with
I can't wait to see
your
the map.
wonderful,
I don't
wonderful
think
eyes.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see the map. I don't think it's ever loaded for me once.
And David,
Right.
That's
David,
true. That might be the only way Anne ever sees the map.
and we need special
Right,
sound effects. Like, you know, it's gonna be great. I can tell.
I will do my best.
You don't
We'll
have
have
to.
the early 2000s PowerPoint fade in.
It's fine. The star wipe or something.
Oh god, the star wipe or the horizontal bars. Ew. Anyway, I think once Kitasha gets maybe like halfway through her flute,
Mhm.
she will get up and actually go over to Brutus, because I think if he's looking up every like twice a minute, every 20 to 30 seconds,
Mhm.
normally that means that someone wants to talk to you with prolonged eye contact.
Brutus will notice you walk over and freeze up and just be, uh, hello, Kitasha. And he will snap his book closed and put it in his lap.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not suspicious at all.
Oh,
Hello again, Brutus. May I? And she'll like gesture to the seat across from him.
of course, of course. Yes, please sit down. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm doing all right. Thank you for asking. And Kitasha will once again like lounge in the seat if it's like benches, kind of like the first time, because
Mhm.
he had trouble fitting into the table itself.
Yeah.
Since he's a Goliath and a very big man. Um,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah. I'm doing so good. How's the writing going? You mentioned that you were traveling to find a muse.
Oh, yes, yes. It's it's progressing. Yes. Insight check. Um, as I fumble through this, go ahead for your insight check. Yes.
Okay.
It's going well. Still working out a couple things, but yeah, definitely working some things out. He's stumbling through his words a lot. That could mean anything. He could really, who knows? Be
Mm.
suspicious, but you think he might be more embarrassed, but you're not sure.
Mhm.
Well, how are things with you? How is your, your guard duty and such?
It is definitely interesting. I don't think I've had to guard anyone on a train before. Did you get a chance to see the sea yesterday or earlier today, I guess?
Oh, yes, it was quite magnificent. I was very excited to, you get to see so many colors and so many rays of light bouncing off the water. It was incredible. Quite the thing to write in a novel, I would say. Get at least somewhat, jotted down for people who can't quite make it on these. Be nice. Or, other people to at least literally experience this.
This is Anna making this face. This is not Kitasha. Kitasha
That's
knows
okay.
better. But since you mentioned colors,
Mhm.
Kitasha's gonna like nod and look at his hands. Does there appear to be like a lot of like paint on it or color?
Um, there do to seem to be some pigments of black. You think from his pen strokes. So you think it's all ink.
The entire side of his hand covered in graphite.
Left-handed, just smearing off his writing.
Yeah. You know it.
Okay.
Yeah, fingertips, especially his pointer finger, are very smudged, with graphite or ink. But yeah, just a lot of that. Not a lot of just other color, just that.
Okay. Yeah, that seems like a really generous thing to do to try and describe how the sun hits the water for those who can't see it themselves.
Oh yes, I like to be able to, bring things to life for people. Because, I mean, me affording this trip was quite strenuous, to be honest. It was, I think, about years pay that I set aside. But yeah, I know a lot of people won't be able to, come out and see us, at least not some time. So it'd be nice for them to, be able to at least read about it. You get to see so many lands through words. It's quite a wonderful experience.
Yes. Yes, it is. Do you know what your title is going to be, or do you wait until after you're finished writing?
Oh, I find that titles tend to jar and kind of restrict a story if you write one too early. So I'm not set on a title yet, but I'm hoping for some wondrous just ideas to bring up. We've still got quite a few days left of this trip, so hopefully, something will just come to life and be exciting. Or at least my brain will think of something. I'm quite stumped on some things at the moment, but I'll figure it out. I'm getting my characters set, and, good characterization is always, the first step.
Of course. What are you stumped on? Is it like a
Oh, just,
plot hole or?
yeah, motivations and such. As I've said before, most of my novels are, a mystery novel of some sort, whether that be a murder mystery or a theft or things of those sort of nature. But getting a good solid motivation for your killer or your villain of the story is always quite frustrating. Especially if, it's not if you're just looking for inspiration, it doesn't always come to you. Sometimes it just has to occur naturally, which was what I was somewhat hoping for this trip, but perhaps that was a bit absurd of me to try to push, but we'll see. I'm getting some ideas and some good descriptions and some good experience. Still
Well,
much time left.
that's true. You're getting off before Radiance, correct? Or are you getting off at Radiance?
Brutus has a panic.
Brutus
The
is all
DM has a
panic.
panic of
He's all panic.
the DM is having a panic of I don't remember what I had him say last time.
Check the
I
VOD.
remember there was like one person that Kitasha talked to that is getting off early. I just don't remember. It's not Reginald. It's not
It had to be Brutus.
Vernon.
It had to be
had to be
Brutus then.
Brutus. Yeah, Brutus would be the
Yes.
only one that she's talked to that could not afford the entire trip.
Thank you. I lost a lot of my notes randomly because for some reason it didn't save one time and just deleted a bunch of my stuff. So it's like
Yeah, going
How
from
rude.
memory.
okay. Yes. Yeah, I'm going to be stopping off in Alistair, which is quite a lovely coastal town, I've heard. So that might also, spur some more imaginations. And then once the train comes back through from Radiance, I'll be getting back on to get back to Dragonbrook.
Of course. Well, I hope that they let us lowly, full train ride people get to have a chance to disembark for a bit. But it was good seeing you, and best of luck. Kitasha will raise her
Yes.
glass. If he's holding one, hold it out to toast.
He'll quickly snag his and toast with you, and give me one more insight check.
Okay, Kat, you cannot be in the way of me clicking. Better. 15.
There's a flush to his cheeks, but you don't know if it's what he's been drinking or if it's about you.
Yeah, who could say?
He'll toast you and drink.
Kitasha will unfold herself from the bench and will return back to everybody. So, how's the drinks?
Did you give Joe the ale?
Yeah, she had set it down in front of Joe.
Nice, okay. It's not too bad. It's a little spicy, but otherwise pretty good.
Spicy?
Just a little bit.
Ale?
It's got a tang, like sort of like lemons.
Is this when we find out that Joe secretly has a wheat allergy or something?
That wasn't what I was going for. It's more him. He hasn't had much alcohol in his life, and so this is probably like, ooh,
Does he equate hops as spice?
maybe.
Capsum isn't spicy, but hops and active yeast in alcohol is?
Yeah, I think this is him maybe even misusing the word spicy just to say it's got a lot more flavor or tang than he was expecting.
Ah, how very British.
Joe, the very British man.
And has Mako touched any more of her drink?
She might have done a couple sips just to check to see if she was right that it has quite a bit more alcohol than she thought, and then probably leaves it be.
So, any luck with Brutus? Was he okay?
I think he'll be fine. He is struggling with finding motivation for his villain. But he says that he's got good descriptors and good character development.
All right.
He also shut his book really fast when I walked up, so I have no idea what that's all about.
Could be he didn't want you to get spoiled. Maybe he was trying to get you to avoid, seeing what he was reading. So, in case he wants to recommend the book later.
I mean, I guess. How long does it take to write a book?
It depends on the writer. Some people take, Some people take a decade for a book. Some people can pump one out every year. I don't know. It's dependent on the writer.
Also, short stories are much easier to write. Shorter.
True.
Ooh, speaking of books, I'm gonna go and speak to. Was it Reginald with the Grave Book? Yeah, okay,
Yes.
I'll go speak to
Yeah.
Reginald.
As you begin walking up, because Reginald is also sharing a table with Vernon, Vernon will look up from jotting down his notes and kind of clock that you're coming over and kind of like. After his interaction of you staring at him earlier.
Mm.
If
He'll just,
if Kitashi can like look around and like try and make eye contact with Vernon, she'll mouth out sorry. Before
Don't
going back to her drink.
apologize.
Vernon will, actually, here, well, Vernon
What will
will
he do?
clock that always get questioned. He rolls for initiative. No, he will notice Kitasha and raise a hand and kind of just nod. But he'll also clock that Joe is kind of looking at Reginald.
Mm.
And as Joe's approaching, he can kind of hear lightly being spoken. Believe you have another visitor, so I'm going to make myself scarce. Have a good rest of your afternoon. And he will stand up and look at you.
I didn't mean to
Freezingly.
chase you off. I'm sorry.
Joe, give me an insight check really quick.
But Michaela, I'm really good at insight. Oh, we got another 20. Let's go.
This man has no immediate dislike towards you right now, but you are hit by such a wave of magical energy through him for just a brief second before it passes.
Oh. So
And
so he
continues.
like as in he was actively casting a spell, or just that he's got a lot of power?
He has a lot of power.
Ooh.
You don't believe he's actively casting a spell.
Okay.
It's as though he usually has a hold on his magic, but just for a split second, it word.
Noted. I don't think I've got any spells to actively. I'll just log that away. So I'm just writing that down in my notes.
What? You take notes?
I've got a whole list of proper nouns. It's not as much as I'd like, to be honest, but yeah, most of my notes are kind of chaotic. Yeah, so I sit down opposite Reginald and pardon the interruption. I just couldn't help but notice the book that you're reading. Sorry, where are my manners? My name is Joe Topaz.
My friend has told me I need to introduce myself to people before I start talking.
Exactly.
Oh, it's quite all right, a young man searching out knowledge. Quite all right. My name is Reginald Goldenbeak. Pleasure to meet your acquaintance.
Quick check. Is this beak golden?
Yes.
Yes.
It's more yellow, but yeah. He is a Alkin Aarakocra.
Nice.
To be fair, I just assumed his glasses were gold, and that was the reason.
Joe will say, how do I approach this? My friends and I are actually planning a trip out towards the Grove at some point in the near future. We're going in a little blind. I don't happen to know. You don't happen to know anything specific about it, or have any advice for our journey there?
Oh, well, there's this great novelization of it. This book is part of it. But, there is a great novelization of some of the travels. I can't remember the writer's name, but it might have been something along the lines of Elvis? Elvis, I think that might have been it. But yes, we had there's quite a bit. But yes, no, this book here is more focused on the founder, I guess would be the correct version of the word, Magi. Quite a powerful wizard. Quite
I
intriguing.
see.
Yeah, did you have any specific questions? Because, things have changed since first, I guess, discovery?
I suppose just
I
any
guess would be.
is the so what is it now? Is it a I've heard of vague stories over time, but I don't really know too specific. So is it somewhere you can still come and go freely now? Is that the case?
I understand mostly so. I think they've got kind of a strict guardian system for there. They've got a stone set of rules for entering the country, but it's not like according to this book, you had to go through this weird bubble almost, and you had to pass through these tests before you could even make it to the main grounds. Nowadays, it's very overgrown shrubbery, from my understanding, that in cases drove. And it
All right.
seems like some they are pretty strict on it being a safe haven still for some people. But from my understanding, it is there is a large temple to, I believe, hair that is forged there. And I've heard stories of a very powerful druid still residing within. But the reason I brought it was I just wanted to kind of learn up because the liberators of Radiance, 100 years or so ago, were actually part of a group that entered the Grove. I hear that there's a marvelous statue of the two of them in the city square.
All right. Well, that's good to know some of the history and the connective tissue around that.
It's quite trying to remember those two men's names. Hmm. I believe it was Ilya and Jalen? Jalen?
Hmm.
Something along the lines.
Well, that sounds very interesting. We'll have to check out that statue once we arrive. I appreciate you taking the time and sharing some of the history. It's a little ways from here. Is that right? It's a decent journey.
Oh yes, I think most people usually travel out towards Ilium first and go from there. It's still quite a ways off from here.
Hmm.
I've heard it's nice to take airboats out that way.
That would be a nice way to travel.
Quite.
I've well, as long as it's not too windy, I suppose it would be quite safe and comfortable.
Oh, even when winds pick up, usually you can find your way around things. Magic can do wonderful things, and combine that with technology, and you're just sailing free.
He's definitely speaking Joe's language there. Joe's like the whole thing is combining magic and technology, so that's way up his alley. Thank you for your time, and if you maybe as you learn more in the book, if there's anything more that you think would be worth mentioning, please by all means come and find me.
Well, I'm quite an avid reader, if you'd really like, I would gladly, once I finish it, I'll lend it to you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
That's very kind.
Oh, what am I saying? You can keep it. Once I finish it, I will hand it off to you.
If you're sure, that would be very kind.
I've got quite the collection, lad. It's all right.
I'll shake his hand if that's what. You know that, yeah, Joe's gonna just hold out his hand to shake it as he gets up to leave, and it's gonna be just as awkward as you can imagine.
He'll look to it, look to you, and shake your hand.
Thank you for your time, and he'll go back to the group. Okay, and I guess I'll share my
I swear, Mako, I didn't ask for them to put a lot of alcohol in it, and I'm so sorry that they just loaded that up for you. That was very rude of them.
It's fine. It's just I apologize for if I'm coming across as rude, which is not what I'm needing right now.
No, that's totally fine. I mean, at this point, it's almost tea time.
Yeah.
Right?
You're closing on tea time.
Okay. Well, we should probably check in on our young charge, make sure nothing terrible has happened.
Yeah.
yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah, you guys can
Yep.
make your way back towards the room. Are you mainly just focusing on getting back to the room, or are you taking in any of the sights along the way?
I think just getting back to the room.
Okay.
Katasha will get distracted. And we'll look at things as
Excellent.
they pass by.
Katasha, give me a perception check.
14 plus 3, so 17.
You're the only one to notice as you're walking back towards Edmund's room, or well, towards your room, Edmund's room. Edmund's door is ajar, just a little bit.
Mm,
You can't remember if you closed it or not.
mm,
Okay. Kitasha will see it and will she's kind of behind everybody, so she will uh stare at it intently and start shocking grasp and move towards the open door.
Okay. Do the other two who were ahead and did not click this, are you just continuing into your room?
maybe, probably. If we didn't clock it, then yeah.
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 Okay. You two, as you enter the room, Edmund is sitting there on the bed. He's got the little fidget slug in his hand and looks up and smiles at the two of you. Oh, thank you for letting me rest. I'm feeling so much better now.
That's good. I'm glad you're okay. Do you think you feel safe enough to go back out there for tea time, or would you rather try and have some food sent here?
Oh, no, I cannot just hide in the cart. I want to go out there and we'll figure out more if I'm, out and about.
All right. In that case, we'll do our best to keep an eye out and look out for you as much as we possibly can. We're going to try and endeavor to keep at least one of us nearby at all times, so that you have one of us to support you in some way.
I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And as he stands, we're going to cut to Kitasha. Are you opening the door?
Kitasha will. You said it's a jar.
Yes.
So she'll try and like peek in as much as she can. And then with like, I'm assuming it's a standard door where the knob is on the left-hand side.
Mhm.
Okay. She has shocking grasp ready in her left hand. And then there's just like little webs of electricity as she slowly pushes open the door.
As you push open the door, you can catch the faint whiffs of smoke in your nostrils, and you look at the desk where you neatly organized all of Edmund's papers and left them. You now see they are all burnt to ash. His notes on his presentation and his experiment, as well as the letters back to his parents, are burnt to ash on the table. The dresser drawers have been opened and searched through. Same with the bedside table. The other little fidget toy, which was a one of those cubes that you can fold into a rectangle and then fold it back into a cube, is shattered on the floor. The room has been ransacked and any papers have been to ash.
Okay. Other than the burning, is there any others like calling cards or anything like that?
Give me another perception or an investigation check as you're looking at.
Oh, good. Something I'm really
Spice
good
things
at,
up.
famously. You know what? 16 or 7. Yep, 16.
As you walk up to the desk, you will notice in the wood has been burnt a handprint.
Okay. Kitasha will
But not like, okay, I'm gonna put it this way. Not like, it doesn't tell you what species they are, because it's not like someone put their hand and burnt using their hand. It was more like a stamp.
okay. Okay. Kitasha will close the door, and then open the door to their room with Edmund, and will like smile brightly and say, "Okay, they're still working on your room. You just stay in here and rest. I'll be right back." And she will close the door gently and start running back to cart 8, or whichever direction Vernon went.
It was still in cart 8.
Okay, so she's running back to cart 8.
Ooh, okay. Where should we go? Let's do this. Mako and Joe, give me insight checks on Kitasha.
Oh, inter-party insight.
Do you want me to do deception that they're rolling against?
If you are trying to deceive them, yes.
All right, it's 16.
A 4.
I think she was more so
Joe
trying.
is none the wiser. More so trying
Yeah,
to
that's
deceive Edmund.
that's only an 11. Kitasha, normally very chipper, a little too chipper.
So Mako clocks this, but Joe does not.
Seems about right.
Mako,
Right,
do you follow?
Yes. And before before she turns, she'll say to Joe, "Stay here, watch him."
Okay.
And Mako takes off after Tasha.
All right. Kitasha, you're going after Vernon?
Vernon
All
seems
right.
to be the
As you
most magically versed.
Yeah, you can run in there. He's just sitting at a table, writing in his
Okay.
notebook.
I think like 2 steps before actually entering, she'll like slow to a walk.
Mhm.
And we'll just kind of approach his table. Vernon, I am so sorry to disturb you. Can I
Yes.
potentially borrow your expertise on something?
Oh.
Mhm.
He'll close his notebook and slide it into his pocket. How can I be of service to you, Kitasha?
You remember when we discussed yesterday of some things that have been happening?
Mm-hmm.
It appears that has escalated.
See. How are we talking here? I am not a detective. What expertise do you view that I could possibly give you?
I believe magic was involved, and if I read you correctly, you have potentially gone to school for magic, or you're well versed in the arcane arts.
You are quite perceptive. That's quite true. I could give it a look if you'd like.
I would greatly
He'll
appreciate it.
stand. He is taller than you.
How dare he?
Yeah.
Wait, is he
He
going on?
is quite tall.
He's going on tiptoes just to pop out his
Just
chest.
up with the
His long black hair flowing behind him, and he lead the way.
And Kitashi will do like another head bow and will turn and probably walk straight into Mako, depending on how closely Mako has been
There.
following.
Mako will
Sounds
immediately ask,
good.
"What'd you see? What's going on?"
It's better to show. My apologies. Mako, this is Vernon. Vernon, this is one of my companions, Mako. And she'll like
Ah.
doing that quick introduction, she'll like continue walking.
Mm-hmm. Mako! Give me an insight check. I'm just having you guys insight check everybody. It's all
Yes.
good.
Everyone's a
Finally, the
suspect.
rolls are on my side.
Yeah.
19.
This man knows your name. This man knows you.
From
But you
from
do
which
not
walk
know
of
this
life?
man. This man does. You do not know this man. But you have a feeling this man knows you. You don't know from which side of your life that he knows you. You just know this man is very aware of who you are.
All right.
And you
Just
also are hit by the most powerful wave of magic, just ever so slightly, and you do not have not rolled high enough to figure out where you've felt this magic before.
all right. Um. Yeah. I. That's gonna really throw Mako off because there there's very few ways that she could know that this person could know who she is and him not be dangerous. But I don't have time or the privacy to communicate that to Katasha right now, so I'm gonna wait.
Pleasure to meet you. Now, shall we see the disturbance?
Yes, let's. And Kitasha will speed walk back to the room.
Okay, and he will follow closely behind you. In the thought of time, we shall cut to you're standing within the room, and he will look around and notice what has been done here, and we'll begin analyzing everything. My boy rolling such good rolls. Excellent. Mako, is there anything you would like to do or speak about while Vernon is investigating this room as you walk in and see the entire room has been ransacked? Um, Piles of ash on the table. All of the drawers have been flung open.
Is there a way that Mako could like get a vibe for whether because what I'm trying to just figure out is this someone who came in here and was just like looking for anything they could to destroy, or is it that they had a target they had specific things they're looking for to destroy? Like I don't know, like is there like an abrupt stop to like where things were like ripped out, like where like four drawers ripped out and two untouched because they found something in drawer four?
Everything seems to have been ripped open in a attempt to make sure they got what they wanted destroyed.
Hmm.
Give me an investigation check really quick.
That's a 19.
Yes.
All right. You are able to find a handful of papers that have been left alone. However, these papers, the one thing that you can notice is they have nothing to do with the train, and they have nothing to do with his experiment and his project.
Hmm.
They seem to be
Okay.
mundane papers that seem to be for some other project, maybe just a little trinket sort of thing. Small schematics, but nothing that was towards the solar panels.
Hmm.
And as you're noticing this, Vernon will lean back up. quite the sloppy, low-level work, to be honest here. There was some magic used, but not much. It seemed more to be light fire, maybe just maybe even a couple of cantrips, really. But this burn here, is very evident of this is the work of the burning hands. Quite a nasty lot. No respect for anyone for magic and none. Do you know of any reason why the burning hands would target this lad?
We've encountered them before. There's probably some like the burning hands, at least from our experience, work are just greedy. So there may be something to do with money here. Probably either them or someone that hired them as I don't know hired, but like you know what I mean. someone that has a monetary interest in our client's work. Um, that's my guess at least.
Quite. This is not a skilled sorcerer or anything like that, I will say. Sadly, my expertise, as you put it, Miss Kitasha, won't be of much use. It appears that they only knew a handful of things. I think really they were more, I would have said the stealthy sort, but it seems as though they've grown tired of that at this point. Perhaps you've given them a run for their money without even realizing it.
Hitasha will look back to like the burnt handprint.
Mm-hmm.
How big is the handprint?
It's probably not that big.
Like a fit
It's
like
a stamp.
it's a stamp. Okay, it's not like an
Yeah.
actual darn.
It's not like someone's burnt on handprint. No, you can't figure out what species are, but what handprint is burnt on.
No, it was more like, is it big enough a handprint to be Brutus, or is it someone else?
No, it appears to be a stamp
Okay.
of a burnt hand. Or
Okay.
a burning hand.
Okay. Well, although this work seems very menial to you, Vernon, we really do appreciate your assistance with this. It at least confirms that this is a magic user, albeit a very
Of course.
unskilled one.
Quite. It's a pity they're doing this. Their magic could have been cultivated to do so many great things. I wish you luck on figuring out who this vermin is. And he will turn and he will leave the room.
Kitasha will do a her like curtsy with the finger to forehead and out to him. And it'll be Mako will probably clock that it's a deeper bow than what she had given like Edwin or anyone else.
Mm.
Okay. Unfortunately, our employer no longer has notes or letters home. That might be a good thing. I don't remember if his parents will remember me. I guess we have to go tell him.
Yeah, probably.
With that in mind, I think that'll so you walk in, we'll enter our last scene for the night. So you
Ooh.
re-enter into cabin where you left poor confused Joe and Edmund.
Mhm.
So, Edmund, do you read any good books lately?
Oh, mainly I've gotten quite a few recommendations actually while on this train.
Hmm.
Surprising amount of literature here, but I actually read this little novel by a what was his name? Oh, it was Brutus Harrelin. Quite fascinating, to be honest.
I think I've met him once.
Oh, really? That's quite interesting.
And then the dog gets kicked out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, welcome back. Is everything all right?
Unfortunately,
Not
your room cleaning
exactly.
is going to take a little longer than expected.
That's quite all right. I'm not
We'll
fussy.
also have to order you some more paper.
More paper? Quite a
Kitasha will like
decent stack.
there's your room was broken into while
Oh,
you were recovering.
I see. My notes are gone, aren't they?
I'm afraid so.
All
Oh,
of
there's
them?
so many hours of work.
All of the notes?
As far as we're aware, all the notes are gone. Vernon, or no, not Vernon. Edmund and Kitasha will kind of kneel down to get eye level with him. I'm assuming he's sitting on the bed, so she's like kneeling,
Yeah.
facing him, and she'll say, Edmund, have you run into the burning hands before?
Joe is like wired on that note, by the way.
I mean, I've heard of them before, but I mean, I had no personal dealings with them ever. Nor would I really want to. Oh. Oh, that makes sense, actually.
Did they
They
try to
must think
contact
my
you?
invention's gonna go well. They didn't personally, but I've never been quiet about my work. Like I said before, if my solar energy panels were to be able to get funded, we'd be able to push out any fuel lines that are being placed within homes.
And the burning hands are heavily invested in gas.
It's a lot easier to burn people to the ground if they have fuel lines than if they have panels. Fuel burns bright and fast. They probably heard of my invention and feared that it would get picked up at the conference. Deal them a blow to their money. Stupid can I be?
Joe storms out the room.
Bye, Joe.
He's heading
Ah.
for car number 4, where he last saw Eugene.
This does actually help us narrow down who could possibly be our suspect. At least to my understanding, even the lowest initiate of the Burning Hands has a mark somewhere on them. It's not a lot to work on, but it means that we can start narrowing the stuff down.
Eugene, this is also very important. Even though your notes are gone, you
Edmund.
still, Edmund. Cat child. I understand. We might be able to recreate your notes, especially since Joe is a fellow artificer and he can help.
Yes.
Did we bring all of your solar panels with us on this train, or did you send them separately?
I have them here, but they are locked away in the 10th cart. I couldn't
We should go
send them
check on
separately
those.
because they wouldn't get here in time.
Okay. Mako, do you
We need to check
feel
on those.
confident
Yeah.
checking on that yourself?
Yeah, I'll go do that.
Okay. Here, we'll just, and Kitasha helps Edmund make do a little makeshift desk, digs out some
Mhm.
like crinkled paper that she probably still has. And her black and gray ink, and we'll just kind of like try to create a semi-focused and calming atmosphere for him to like redo all his notes again. And we'll ask very mundane questions about how things work.
Mhm. Sounds perfect.
Mhm.
And with that, and I will get into the chat so no one forgets what they're doing.
What?
Joe is headed towards cart 4. Kitasha is helping Edmund with his notes, and Mako is headed off to cart 10 to try and make sure all of these solar panels are still intact. And that is where we will end for the night.
Oh